Ta-da! Hi, it's your pal Sean Teacher. How are you today? Hello, students. I hope you're doing okay. I'm doing okay. Today, we are going to draw a Corsair World War II vintage aircraft. An airplane. We want to draw an airplane. So, hang on, buckle in, get ready to take off. We're going to make a flight into drawing an aircraft. Be right back. Oh, I'm back. Here I am. I'm going to use a pen. You should use a pencil. We've talked about this. Anyway, I think probably the first thing I want to say when we do this is to think big. Make a big drawing. Don't get too small, okay? All right, so let's start with the tail section. And to do that, we're going to draw the rudder. And basically we're just going to make a straight line up like that. Something like that, yeah. And then about here it's going to curve and come back down. Yeah? Something like that. Now, of course, the rudder is how you steer the airplane right and left. So if you're flying through the air and you got to go right or left, you kind of steer it with this. And the cool thing about these airplanes is that they were sort of riveted together. So somebody had to work really hard to make this thing, all these pieces of metal fit together. And that was sort of a big story, a big part of the story of World War II, is that people worked really hard together. They were kind of a team. Anyway, that's part of the body. The body comes up like that. And then right about here are the flaps. And you have to think about this as being kind of thick. You know, like if I were to draw a line of, let me draw some rivets. The rivets would go around like that and around like that. So this thing is kind of rounded there. Okay, good. All right, so, and then we got another body seam about here somewhere. Yeah. So this all kind of goes up in a slant like that, till you get to about here, and that's going to be the cockpit. And that's where the cockpit starts anyway. So the Corsair only had one person sitting inside of it. Like that. But then the bottom of the body came out like this. Now, here's the really cool part of the Corsair. Oh, put my hands back in. The Corsair's wings sort of had a bend to them. And the reason why is so that they could be folded up. So most airplanes, it would be very inconvenient to have a wing that was folded up. But with the Corsair, it went down like that. And then it went back up like this. back out, and back up. And there's this kind of thing here where air would flow inside. We don't worry too much about it, but there was sort of a hole here. We might color that black later. Yeah, so this is getting kind of good, yeah. So we can make another body seam like that. And we can make the inside of the cockpit where it could be like you could see the inside. That's where the pilot would sit. Yeah, that's not bad. Now, the cool part, the engine. Well, I think all parts of it are pretty cool. But one big thing about the Corsair was it had a giant engine on it, so it could go really, really fast. And they were really, really tough, too. So you go about this far out. And then you kind of want to make a semicircle. Something like that. And then you kind of want to make another one like that. Make the bottom. Like that. Now, they had these vents where the heat from the engine would come out. So these vents were on the side, and they look kind of like this. Yeah, like that. Now we can kind of make another couple of body seams. And when you make the body seams, it's helpful because you can kind of see how round the airplane looks then. We'll make another one here. And again, some person would rivet these things in. And rivets are just attachers, things that sort of attach the metal to the frame of the airplane. Like that. Yeah. So the airplane has rivets now. That's cool. Okay, hang on a minute. We're going to be right back. We are back. So let's continue our little journey of drawing a Corsair airplane. Now, you may not know, but the Corsair was made very famous by the United States Marine Corps. So they're made a very tough airplane. And this is sort of another one of those things that I'm drawing now that kind of takes in air. So you can make that kind of black. And here, of course, the engine is inside this space. You can't see it very well. But here you kind of want to make, there's a lot of half circles that we'll make right now. But I'll try and sort of make it so that you can see it. Yeah, kind of like that. Kind of make this thing on the front. Kind of looks like the end of a hot dog, huh? Anyway, once you do that, then you can finish this side. Like that. Now, if the airplane were sitting still, you wouldn't want to draw this way. You want to leave room for the propeller so you wouldn't draw through the propeller. But our airplane is moving through the air at such a speed that you can't see the propeller moving. You can see where it is, but you can't see it. And I'll show you what to do about that in a minute. Anyway, you kind of can imagine the wing comes out to here, and kind of can imagine it's going over here. So we have to kind of think that the other part of the wing is going to come out way over here, like this. You can kind of see that wing shape. I can make that more apparent by doing this. See that wing shape? I can make a body seam here. And right about there, in this space here, is where the wings would fold up. And here is what we call a flap. Now the flaps are there to make the airplane go up and down. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of going where we want it to go. And we'll make another seam underneath, like this. Yeah, that's all right. And there's our flap on this side. And here's another flap here. Yeah. And we can also make a body seam that goes down and starts to come back up there. Okay, so we're doing pretty good. Down here, there is this sort of thing, and a lot of people think, oh, that's a bomb. No, it wasn't a bomb. It looked like a bomb, but this is a fuel tank. They would have a detachable fuel tank. So if they were flying around, they could go further. But if they got in a fight, they would drop their fuel tank and give them more maneuverability. So they might run out of fuel, but they would be much faster while they were fighting. So that was the idea there. Now we're going to make the propeller. And the propeller is going to be kind of a circle, but it's going to be something that we can't see too well. We're just going to do something like this. Sort of a fuzzy, bumpy, kind of a line like that. And inside of it, we're going to make some very thin lines like this. And it's going to make it look like the propeller is going around and around very quickly. Kind of like a clock face in a way. And normally, Sean Teacher would tell you never to draw over the other lines. But this is something that you can't sort of see. It's just barely visible. I hope that makes sense to you. Kind of like if you look inside of a fan, you see this thing sort of blowing by, right? Anyway, I think we should give it some more rivets. What do you think? We'll give them some more rivets on these body seams. Now there is a great deal of ways, there are a great deal of ways to decorate our airplane. But probably the best thing we can do is to put a star on it. Now, the star is a little bit difficult to do. I'm going to show you how to do it. It's going to be pretty easy for you. I hope it'll be easy. It had this sort of bar behind it. So it was a star in a circle on a bar. So here's the bar. And again, this is sort of painted on, so you don't have to do that. You don't have to make this. Then we kind of make a circle inside. Yeah, like that. And then you kind of want to make a point here and a point here. Then a point here. Yeah. And a point here. And a point here. And that's going to make what we would call a 5-sided star. See how that line kind of falls from the bottom of the bar? And then you do a number like that. Yeah? And something like that. And there, and there, and there, and there, and there. So now we have a star on our airplane. A star in a bar. Now normally this part would be colored in a darker color. Some kind of black or blue. And the airplane itself almost always was colored dark blue. Sometimes it had a light blue tummy. But there really are a lot of different ways you could color it. Now another thing you can do, and I'm not going to do it because it would take too much time, but you could make block letters. Many, many times when you see these airplanes, there are block letters here that say Marines. But you don't have to do that. Now here, we're going to make kind of a horseshoe shape. That's in the glass. And pretty much, there it is. A Voight Corsair World War II vintage aircraft. Let's color it. Wow! Okay, we're back. Now, you could color this with crayons, coloring pencils. I'm going to use this marker because it's going to be a little faster for the video. But you don't have to use markers to color this. You don't have to have sort of expensive wild art supplies. I'm just doing this because it's faster. But anyway, most of the body of the Corsair was sort of a dark blue. So we're going to kind of make a dark blue color on our Corsair. And I'll color the whole body this way. Except for the belly and parts of the flaps and wings. The whole thing is going to be kind of a dark blue. Like this. Let's see what it looks like. This is fun. I think coloring's kind of the best part sometimes of doing something like this. You really know your drawing worked well when the color comes out good, you know? So I'm going to kind of color these spots in kind of a light blue here. And remember that there were a lot of different color variations, so it doesn't always have to look just like this. You can look up, if you're ever in Ohio, Youngstown, Ohio, I think it's Youngstown, they have an aviation museum there. And you can see lots and lots of Corsairs there. So if you're ever in Ohio, check out the Aviation Museum. I've been there, it's really cool. And just like that, our vintage World War II Corsair aircraft is done. What do you think? I hope you enjoyed it. See you later. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.